And good morning. It is 20 minutes after 7 o'clock, and joining us in studio this morning from Lovelace Regional Hospital, RN Leyla Salvo. Good morning. How are you today?
Good morning.
Good.
Thanks for having us.
Good. Let's move it a little closer. I
For
forgot.
sure.
We got to talking about Bob Ross and forgot to tell her how to use the button.
Right?
First off, good morning. Thanks for spending some time with us.
Thanks. Thanks for having us.
I know all the medical staff, especially when you're working in the office, usually first thing in the mornings. I'd say all day's busy, but that's kind of the part of the day where you're kind of figuring out, all right, let's see our patient case who we're seeing and getting all. So
Yeah.
I appreciate you spending some time while people patiently wait for you guys to get ready and everything.
Thank you.
Good deal.
Happy to be here.
What we're talking about this week is the first week of August, 1st through 7th, I think, is officially the time frame here.
That's right.
They celebrate World Breastfeeding Week, and this is actually, and I say world, it's like 120 countries.
Yeah.
I was reading online about the world, and so this and the thing I've read as well is they've been doing this for 30 some years or something. It's not new. This is something that's, I mean, I guess. It's not like people like, what are you doing for World Breastfeeding Week? It's not one of those things, but how are you celebrating World Breastfeeding Week? We're having a party. But it's something that obviously there's been, and I would think the whole purpose of this is to promote the fact that breastfeeding, if you can, is the way to go for your children as far as health and benefits and things like that. And I'm guessing, and maybe you can help me because I'm almost 50. I'm in that. So I was a child of the 70s and things. I think that was a time frame where they weren't so promoting of breastfeeding and things because I'm and I could be wrong because I was a baby then, but the way I remember some of that stuff was and maybe this is why about 30 years ago is when they started this. Was there a trend in that time where people, less and less mothers were going the way of breastfeeding and going through the formulas or the more convenient ways of doing it? And then is that kind of why we, about 30 years ago, this all started?
A little bit more than 30 years ago, I think we saw women entering the workforce and leaving babies. And so that was a prime opportunity for formula companies to step in and market a product that would enable moms to, go into the workforce, leave babies with somebody else. So breastfeeding started to fall out of favor.
Gotcha. I just was thinking about that because I'm thinking of my own life, and I'm like, that wasn't something people, it was, and I remember in the 80s and 90s, it was much more the push for breastfeeding is the way to go. And now I'm thinking, and in my adult brain later, I'm like, I'm thinking it was just technology and the way it is. And like you said, the lifestyle, women were going to work now.
Yeah.
They're not, their job wasn't to stay home and raise the family so much.
Yeah, roles changed. And I mean, I think now you're right. After the 70s, 80s, 90s, we start to see a push for breastfeeding again. Breastfeeding is timeless.
Sure.
It is the best way to feed if you're able to. And now with great lactation support, especially here in Roswell, that's why we're really starting to promote more actively.
Absolutely.
Moms they can pump for breast milk when they do go to work. We look at extended stays home through companies that offer great time for their families to stay home up to 12 weeks.
Sure.
You talk about FMLA leave. And,
now it's spousal. I remember my brother when they had their second child a few years ago.
Yeah.
And my brother was like, I'm taking some months off. Like, you didn't have the baby.
Right.
But no, that's part of it. And actually that helps the families because that kind of extends that time before they need to start thinking about childcare and things, which sometimes that's definitely a thing. Once everyone's ready to go back to work, it's like, what do we do?
Now, what are we doing with baby? And we're finding that families aren't so close together anymore. We have families spread out all over the country, all over the world. So grandparents aren't as involved as they once were either. So having that great support for the extended time for both parents, right?
Absolutely.
And then, having services to support. I know at Lovelace, we this year went ahead and opened our first pumping room for moms who return to work. So any of the moms who return from maternity leave have a space to pump breast milk, a space to store it until they go home at the end of the day. So we're really encouraging it.
Nice. So I guess I'm assuming refrigerators or sometimes especially, hey, these are marked for for babies food.
Absolutely. We have a fridge that holds baby's food till mom can take it home and replenish that stock for the next day that they work.
Very good.
Yeah.
And I gotta ask this, because I know obviously when people talk about breastfeeding your children, and the first thing obviously everyone hits you with is the health side of it.
Yeah.
It's so much healthier for the baby. It's it really obviously the more we've learned about these connections and this. Just like, for instance, when I was born and things, there were certain philosophies on how birthing happened and things. It's much different today. But I think one of the things, and I'm sure there's a connection here, but I know one thing that science and everything says, but when the child is born and one of the first things I know that the medical staff and everything want to do is try to get that baby touching mom or dad, if touching family as soon as possible because of the bonding and the connections that are made there. I would also indicate or probably guess that breastfeeding is in that same vein as well. Is such a important relationship to have that establishes that mother-child connection.
Right. I know at Lovelace Regional, we do promote the loving hour. So the first hour minimal after birth, these babies are going to go skin to skin with mom, make that connection bond. That time on mom's skin really encourages breastfeeding for baby, sets the pace. It stabilizes blood sugar for baby, temperature for baby, heart rate, and breathing. So it's the way that we want to see each mom come in and be offered that, as well as 24-hour room in with baby, so that they get to know their new baby with our support before they go home.
Sure.
Years past, babies were taken to nurseries.
Yeah.
And they stayed in the nursery, and then when mom was getting ready to leave, we hand you a baby.
Yeah. Dad passed out cigars. It was the whole deal. Your dad in the waiting room. It's just like but it's a whole different ballgame now.
A lot of separation in years past.
Sure.
So we know that moms and babies and families really benefit from that time close together, learning with our support.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And one of the things that I always want to stress too is when we talk about breastfeeding, especially that first year that this baby's on this earth, pretty much everything it's getting and it's that it needs to grow and be successful. It's coming through mom here, and you look in the world we look at now with immunizations and getting all this stuff. Obviously, there's a schedule for your children to get the immunized, getting your shots. I was doing a Porky Pig. Get your shot. But that's right. And please follow that. But before those shots are happening and everything else, your baby's very vulnerable. So when you, the mom, get the flu shots and get, I'm guessing even COVID shots here. By you breastfeeding your children, you're that conduit. By you nourishing the baby with your breast milk, you're in essence protecting that baby through you for some of that stuff. Am I right on that? Or?
You're right on.
Okay.
Absolutely. That first milk, the colostrum, that begins even before baby, enters the world, right? So the colostrum is already developing in mom's breast, and what that infers to baby is immunity. So it's huge. Not only through the breast milk itself, baby when they latch on. Skin to skin, there's beneficial bacteria on mom's breast that will pass to baby.
Yeah.
Again, we talk about immunizations. We've seen with COVID at this time, that's the big topic still in the world, that babies are getting that immunity passed on. So it's recommended that moms breastfeed during this time. And we've seen a huge surge in moms coming in saying, I heard that this can help protect my baby from COVID, from the flu, from, the other normal illnesses that we see in childhood. So it's, not a good time. COVID's not something any of us want to see, and we all want to see it get out quick. But it has brought a higher number of moms asking about breastfeeding. Yeah.
Breastfeeding really is, God, Mother Nature's way of they thought this out pretty good when they were with these humans and how we come to be, and there's a plan for all of that, and that's nature's way, God's way of helping us out here.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So please, and I understand, that it can be difficult. It can be, but like you said earlier, really the world has made it much more amenable for breast, which is an awesome thing. And I know we got to keep going, but
we do, yeah.
But now it's not taboo. It's
right.
Not only accepted, but also now looked upon as like, hey, good job, Mom.
Very beneficial. And that's what's nice. I mean, I feel like in the last probably 2 years that even here in Roswell, we've really stepped up the game on lactation services. So moms who come in to the hospital deliver, they have our services. And when they go home, if they're struggling, if they hit a road bump, breastfeeding, while natural, sometimes it's challenging. Just like motherhood, right? But they can come in and see us at the hospital for that extra hands-on help.
Sure.
Yeah.
I'm kind of curious, and this may be way early in study games, but I have a hunch.
Yeah.
When some of the common things that families, mothers deal with after pregnancy, you hear about postpartum depression, those kind of things. The mom's kind of mental health side of things. I've got to imagine there's some connections in breastfeeding and that mental health. Like I bet. Like if they're studying, and I'm sure they're doing it, but if you look deep down, that mothers that breastfeed probably have less issues with postpartum depression and things. I bet there's a link there some way. I mean, I have no proof. I'm spitballing.
Definitely. There are studies, that the synergistic effects of some of the hormones that are related to producing breast milk and breastfeeding also help to ease mom's mind, and provide them protection against some of that postpartum depression.
I kind of figured. I mean, it just kind of. Now, is there any other benefits? Because we always talk about the child's benefits, but is there other benefits that mothers do get from being breastfeeding their children?
Sure, absolutely. A faster recovery postpartum, which is great. It takes a toll on the body and the whole process. So faster healing, reduced rates of ovarian and breast cancer for moms who breastfeed, a year or greater their babies. And I think those are really important. As our numbers for cancer rise, every decade we go, I think it's great to have moms know that there's a protective effect.
Sure.
For sure. And, less missed time from work because these babies aren't babies having as many illness problems, ear infections, respiratory infections. So we see that protection there as well.
Absolutely. And it makes sense because, I mean, it's nature's medicine.
Yes,
it really
and it's made just for that baby.
Yeah.
It's custom made for your baby at the time that the baby's nursing.
Absolutely.
And it changes. I always tell moms it changes from the time that you have your baby for as long as your breastfeeding journey lasts.
Sure. Now, does nutritional benefits change at all with breast milk when versus storing it in the fridge? I mean, obviously people are busy and on the go, and so all of that's okay and good. But I mean, pardon the joke, but is straight from the tap more nutritious than pumping and then saving it for later, or is there no difference there?
So we always encourage, babies directly to breast are going to get the milk and that the body's intending for them to have at the time. And that's developmentally appropriate, right?
Gotcha, yeah.
And it's also appropriate for what they're encountering in the world when we talk about exposure to illness, right? Mm-hmm. So if, little Timmy gets exposed to, the flu and mom has those antibodies, we're protecting Timmy. Now, had that milk been pumped and froze for a later time, sure, that can change a little. Still beneficial.
Far more superior than formula or anything else out there.
Yeah, absolutely. And the nice thing is, too, moms who go to work, I counsel moms all the time on still breastfeeding those babies when you are home directly to breast. So in the morning before work, if it's something you're able to do, when you come home in the evening and through the night, and then on the weekends or holidays, still take that baby directly to breast and then pump only when you're away.
Gotcha. Yeah. Makes sense. Yeah. I do want to ask some questions that this is the area that I have no expertise in. So if these sound stupid, please understand it's coming from a guy.
No stupid. But if it's a question you have, there's somebody else who has the question.
Well, and I think that's why I think these are good questions because obviously mothers, first-time moms, you don't know what to expect. Till you do it, you don't know it. You just don't. And so... And I mean, you could read all the books in the world or study all the YouTube videos in the world, but until you sit down and do it, you can't experience that. So let me ask, when it comes to the actual times, the breastfeeding, because obviously first-time moms, especially, probably, am I doing it right? And so I kind of want to ask you, what are the common questions at first time, like, is it supposed to hurt like this, or is it? What are some of those common things that moms ask that you're kind of like, yeah, that is normal, or know if you see this you need to take care of, but this is normal. I mean, what are some of those common things that you see very often with moms?
Those are great questions. Yeah. So first-time moms always, especially, do I have enough milk? That's the first question we hear in the hospital right away. I'm not sure I have enough milk, or I'm not sure that my milk is here. Has it come in?
Sure.
So we really talk to moms about that first milk, the colostrum, small amounts. A teaspoon to 3 teaspoons.
Yeah, it's not like a half gallon just shows up right away or something.
Yeah, I always tell moms it's like that concentrated detergent. You can buy the small bottle of extra concentrated, or you can buy the really large bottle of the diluted, and colostrum is that small bottle. It's just power-packed full of everything baby needs.
Like your 5-hour energy shot versus the full cup of coffee
Exactly,
or something.
Right? Yeah. So you're feeding frequently because it's small amounts, but it has everything baby needs. And, get into about day 3 to 5 when that milk will transition into that into milk rather than colostrum. So moms first question is that. The other is, how do I know they're getting enough? We always say, pee and poop, right? What you're putting in has to come out.
It's got to come out somewhere.
So we're going to give you a great guide to know that what's appropriate.
Okay.
We're going to keep you in touch with the lactation department if you're breastfeeding, so we can walk you through that. And then the other thing that they'll always ask is, do I have to watch the clock? Like, how often am I feeding?
Sure.
And so we tell them, with a healthy baby, you're going to watch your baby. Baby is going to give you great cues for hunger and for feeding time. So hands are in the mouth, baby's tongue sticking out, baby's rooting or looking around for, it's like even as a man, when you pick up a baby and they're looking for you for milk, you're like, no, I don't have that.
Sorry, wrong tap.
They might be on your neck, they might be at your chin, as a dad.
That's kind of an indicator, hey, they're looking for something to eat.
They're looking for something to eat.
Gotcha.
So you can't overfeed that baby. Breastfeeding, you can't overfeed. So bring the baby to mom. Always offer. You always tell them, if you're not sure if they're hungry, offer it.
Gotcha.
Then you're not gonna make the wrong.
Yeah, worst thing to do is not eat.
Is not have it at that time. Yeah, and if you're experiencing questions or concerns at home, you can always reach out to us. We are available. I always tell moms 24/7 the hospital is running, right?
Okay.
So anybody can call at any time with questions for help.
Okay. Let me ask this, and again, I'm not trying to get graphic or anything, but I just know this is a common problem. What about like care for the nipples and things, because I hear a lot of mothers complain about the sensitivity and things like that. Is there old wives' tales or home remedies or things that they can do to kind of help with that stuff?
So we always have a question that you mentioned earlier, pain, if it's hurting.
Sure.
And I always tell moms, is it sometimes a new sensation, something you're not used to, especially as a first-time mom? Yes. Sometimes you have a little bit of tenderness at first that should go away.
Gotcha.
But if you're having straight out pain or sensitivity that's not resolving, you definitely need to come in and see one of the lactation specialists.
So some like minor irritation, like a rash feel or something, that's not too bad. But if it's getting to where, this feels like something's not,
if it's persisting and it's really causing you discomfort, come in, we're going to work with you, find out the cause, so we can remedy it.
Gotcha.
And as far as treating the breast, evidence-based product, there's not a lot of things that you need for your breast.
Gotcha.
A lot of people want to say, go buy this, go buy that.
Yeah.
Moms, the breast milk itself is very healing. So a little bit of breast milk on the breast when you're done, and the nipple
can help spillage, and then it should help kind of moisturize the area a little bit and make it a little less sensitive.
It sure can. And otherwise, too, we also advise moms sometimes to just use, just plain warm water to, soak the breast if you're tender at all at first.
Okay.
But again, if something continues to go on, reach out, because that's what the specialists are trained to do, to help you troubleshoot.
Sure.
And remove what's causing the problem and help you to do better.
Sure.
Yeah, teach moms.
So let's talk windows here, because you always see jokes in movies about kids being breastfed till they're 17 or something, and jokes like that. Obviously, that's probably a little too far, but ideally, what is that? When they're first born, you want to get them on as soon as possible there.
Right.
But are we talking first year, first 4 years, 2 years? What's that window that you should be breastfeeding your child?
Well, we know for sure that we recommend babies be breastfed for 6 months with no other supplementation. So no water, no food, no anything else.
Gotcha.
First 6 months. At 6 months is when a lot of moms will start to introduce those complementary foods or baby foods, or, if they're making them at home, and then still continue to breastfeed until baby weans.
Gotcha.
We always say, it's a relationship. That's the beauty of breastfeeding. It's not just filling the need for nutrition. It also fills the need for comfort, for warmth,
sure,
for just that stability for baby.
You're establishing the foundation, really, for that family connection there. That's what you're building.
Yeah, so weaning comes when mom and baby are ready to wean. And, I always tell moms, I don't limit that because I think it's different for every family. So we're there to support moms who, want to make that choice when they are ready. Some moms will say, baby just was done at a year. Too busy running off, playing with everything in the house. Anything that walked by, they were done. And mom sometimes will say, well, so we were done.
Gotcha.
And sometimes moms say, I wasn't quite done yet, but baby was done.
Yeah.
Or vice versa. Sometimes moms are like, you know what, I'm done. I feel like I've completed this journey.
Sure.
And so then they initiate the process.
Sure.
And yeah.
But I imagine I guess it's just natural like anything else, or is that it just happens when it naturally happens.
Yeah.
But I'm guessing as they get introduced to more foods and the ability to ingest more foods, it slowly, you just gravitate more towards that and away from the breastfeeding side.
Yeah, it sure changes like your schedule. I know a lot of moms say, man, it's so much work. And it is work. It's a work of love, right? And it may start with so many feeds. We say about 8 to 12 feeds in a 24-hour period is what you should be feeding your newborn.
Okay.
Between then and when you wean, even if that's at a year, you're not going to be breastfeeding to that extent those many times by a year, because you have, like you said, you're starting to introduce complementary foods. So you'll see that evolve. The relationship definitely changes.
Yeah. So let me ask you this now. Let's go to the after part. Now we're at the part where your child is no longer requiring to be breastfed and they're now on their own here. Yeah. Now, what's for the mom? What can she expect? How much longer is she start going to produce? Like, does the body, naturally just stop doing on its own? I mean, what's going to be next for the mom after that?
Yeah, so that's a great question. I think that for moms who, follow that natural weaning process, mom and baby led, that you're going to see the breastfeeding sessions, decrease naturally over that time period. So the weaning experience and mom drying up won't be as profound as if you were just a stock cold turkey.
Gotcha.
Right in the middle, because your breast has already adapted. That's the nice thing. Your breast will adapt in making milk to what the baby's using.
Okay.
So as baby slows down using as much milk or taking as much milk or having as many sessions, you're going to see that milk decrease.
So it has its own little, I guess, measuring cup in there and kind of says, hey, it's not, I don't need to make anymore. There's, and it basically, I know I'm being very rudimentary, but
but sending messages. Yeah. I always tell moms that breastfeeding is majorly, it's dependent on supply and demand, right? And removing the milk the right way sets the tone, fully to make enough milk for your baby. At the same token, when you wean baby or baby decides to wean together, you're going to see that natural decrease and your breast will accommodate. So the body sends messages all the time to what you need.
Okay.
And this is just one of those needs as well. So breast milk production will depend on that.
Okay.
Mom will start to use less. Brain will say, okay, I don't need to make as much milk.
Sure.
And so it'll be a less challenging process.
Now, is it pretty common where, obviously, when we talk about hormones and those types of things, because mom's basically is concocting the super cocktail in their breastfeeding here, which I imagine it's churning out the different the nutrients and things. But at the same time, I also got to imagine it's messing with hormones and things like that. How is that journey for mom? Is that pretty common to see? Because obviously your body's working overtime to help your baby here. Is it pretty common for to create just hormonal fluctuations for the mom there? And, kind of when we talk about menstrual cycles and all of it. But I would imagine too, you probably experience some of those hormonal fluctuations, highs and lows, which obviously can impact your moods and things like that. Is that pretty common during breastfeeding, and will that change drastically when you're starting and stopping the breastfeeding process?
I think for each mom, it's just very individual. So it can be some mild adjustments. It can be major adjustments. So we always want to keep in touch with our moms. We deliver at Lovelace. Rio Pecos delivers with us. And so they're going to follow moms closely after delivery and then, annually, right?
Sure.
Any needs in between. So moms will deliver a baby. Hormones really change majorly once baby's here in their arms.
Yeah.
And again, they start to try to find their new normal through breastfeeding. And again, when mom weans and baby weans, then you're going to find a new normal with hormones. So how that impacts each mom just can vary tremendously.
Now, generally, like after the first child, say they decide to have a second, does your body kind of have a muscle memory for some of this and remember some. So sometimes that second pregnancy, okay, I had a little bit tough time in the breastfeeding process, the first child, but does your body have like a lessons learned from this? Like, okay, it's a little bit easier the second time because now we figured out the routine here. I mean, does it get easier with multiple children?
I think it can. Sometimes moms will have a first baby and breastfeed and do a beautiful job and really, just have a great experience. And second baby might struggle a little. And it sometimes can be more a baby issue. Okay. Because baby's learning. Baby has to have that.
Sure. It's a learning curve for them, too.
It really is. Yeah. I mean, these babies come. The nice thing, they come out, not knowing. I mean, they've been fed, not by mouth. They're practicing in there, practice breathing. Hands are going in their mouth. If you ever see an ultrasound of your baby,
sure.
How many times are hands in the mouth? Feet in the mouth, if they can get them there. So they're doing all the things to get ready to breastfeed. The biggest difference I see between baby 1 and baby 2 or beyond for moms is that learning curve. The education that they have, that they've done this once before, and the confidence they have that they're capable.
It's kind of like those commercials for like one of the diapers or something. It's like first baby and the mom and dad are helicoptering over and over. Second one, they're like, I'll put some dirt on it, be fine. Same mindset there. Yeah.
They're like, I've got this. Yeah. So that's what we always see. We always encourage moms. First time moms, we always say at Lovelace, we have some really great childbirth classes, classes on breastfeeding.
Yeah.
So we encourage before baby comes to come in to learn. And kind of like you said, though, till that baby's in your arms.
Yeah.
That's the real game changer.
Sure.
Because then we're learning with two individuals, and we're trying to educate them both, help them both along.
Absolutely.
To do what they can definitely do.
And that's and this is again when we talk about God's plan or Mother Nature's plan here, depending on how you look at the world. But you look at this 9 months that basically the body and the family has to prepare for this new addition into the world, and that's what you're talking. Lovelace can help through all that, but that's. Really, that's nature's way of saying, hey, it's time for you to get educated, get prepared for this, and use this 9 months to kind of adjust your world and get it ready for this new addition. And obviously, we don't know what we're doing, and it's a confusing but exciting time at that same time. And so I think it's really, like you said, important to utilize it. There's no dumb question here. I know I was joking earlier about that, but. And I know, and unfortunately, there's a lot of experts because a lot of people have had babies and everyone's experienced it. And so you got probably your mom telling you one thing and your grandma telling you another and your friend telling you another thing. And all of them, okay, well, make sure you do this before delivery, and stand upside down, all the stuff you hear. Sure. And you just kind of want to, there's a lot out there. And that's where you say, hey, talk to your healthcare professionals. Sit down with Lovelace. And once we go and say, hey, here's the day saying congratulations, you're pregnant. Let's start, doing the education, the classes side. Obviously, the physically getting things ready. And Lovelace can help you from day to saying you're pregnant till you welcome that baby, and obviously beyond with all the care and things afterwards.
We have such a great team at the hospital. I feel like our unit is just so cohesive. Everybody works so well together, and each of us has just a different strength that we can bring to your family to teach you, what you need to know to successfully, take care of these new babies.
Absolutely.
It's a lot of work, and it's individual to each family, too. I always tell you, it's not a one-size-fits-all, right? What works for your family may not work for the next family.
This is true.
And so we're there to support all those options and find the way that's best for you.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
We're out of time, but I just had one quick question, and I hope this isn't. I just thought of it just now because I know this is something that I've heard of and seen. When it comes to breast milk of other mothers, like I've seen some of those stories where like hurricanes and things where moms are kind of just pumping milk because there's babies that need it. Obviously you want mom to child. That's the best connection there. But is there still a lot of good benefit if they're receiving breast milk from someone that isn't their mother? Is there any problems or issues there?
No, so it sure is such a great option. You know, New Mexico now in Albuquerque has the milk repository for moms. So you can actually donate your breast milk to them. And if anybody has any questions about that, they can always call me at the hospital.
Okay.
But totally, you can donate. Babies in the NICU.
Okay.
Just are such vulnerable little children, right?
Sure.
Weakest of the weak, sickest of the sick. needing that breast milk. And for some moms who have problems or cannot breastfeed or something's going on that eliminates that, you can provide that milk for them.
Well, I would imagine, too, because especially if you've got, say, mothers and things that are dealing with, drug dependencies, alcohol, those kind of coming out of those situations, that breast milk is not good for those children if it's an addict because it's also got the drugs that the addict was on going into that baby's system. So imagine systems like that are very important for when those situations arise.
And moms who have health issues that are on some medications that sustain their life may not be safe for a baby either. And those are limited. There's not a lot of them, but they do exist. So we always encourage our families to, if they're willing to donate. We have some great families in Roswell who have done that. So
excellent. So if anybody would like to donate breast milk, please, Lovelace, reach out and we'll find some ways to do that. If you can go to the Lovelace website, you can go there. Do you guys have a number directly for your office?
Yeah, if they want to call, we're at 575-625-3395. And all next week, we're going to be downtown at Meant to Be for World Breastfeeding Week.
Okay.
Right across from Peppers, if you know where that is.
Yeah.
Come on by. We're doing some raffles.
Okay.
Deanna Austin of Meant to Be is doing some beautiful breastfeeding portraits
for
moms that she's signed up, and we're raffling off one of those.
Nice.
A diaper cake through Lovelace, and then all of our education about what we provide for moms to be and families to be will be there. Meant to Be Monday through Friday, 9 to 5.
All next week.
Yeah,
so come on out again, right across from Peppers.
Yeah.
And come by, learn more. And everybody likes free swag. I don't care.
Oh gosh. Yeah.
Take it all. I take everything. And
absolutely.
And even if you're like, okay, I'm not pregnant yet, but you know what? We're planning to have a kid in the next year here or so, and let's, it's never too early to start planning that kind of stuff.
Never too early and never too soon to come in and learn about what we have to offer.
Excellent. Leyla, is there anything we missed, anything we wanted to get out there, or did we get it?
Yeah, I think you got it all.
Well, thank you very much. Appreciate you spending some time with us. Thanks for having some fun with us. And thank you for the burritos. Thank you guys for bringing the burritos. My doctor's gonna be mad at me today because I'm having a cheat day.
Every now and then, right? Every now and then.
It's so worth it.
It is. Agreed.
Thank you very much. Have an awesome weekend. We'll see you next time. Okay.
See you next time. Thank you.
All right. Take care.
Bye bye.
It is 7:50.